pile of dog shit we're forced to call our society. I'm your host, Reginald Alaska. Yeah. And I hope to be with you for an hour or so here anyway. Hot as mother out here. And I'm down at the creek waiting patiently for the damn fish to show up. They should be here. It's July 2nd for F's sake. But just because I didn't see them as soon as I got here doesn't mean they aren't here. Because sometimes I've waited for as long as 2 hours before I've seen them in here, when they're running. They should be, by all means, running. I know I'm a little late today, but hey, sorry about that. I didn't know if I was even going to go today. But you know what? Turns out it's my regular day. Used to be anyway. And I know I'm late, so I probably won't get many. But who knows? Maybe people will show up. But it's hot as effing hell here. Seriously. Seriously hot. And so I'll be chilling here, waiting for these fish ever so patiently. Oh shit. So yeah, it's seriously hot today. It's got to be well over 70, which is hot for here. We have a different kind of climate here, And if you get 80 degrees here, it's like freaking 90 or 100 somewhere else. I'm not even kidding you. The sun's intensity, it's really strong here. And so I've got perfect sunshine. Probably gonna jump in the creek here for a minute. Once I get overheated, get in there and do a quick dip. It's probably gonna be like bath water today. But I'm keeping my eyes peeled. Wait a second. Okay, sometimes, when they come up in mass, like, when there's like schools of 10, 20, whatever, unmistakable. But if you get like maybe one or two, it's not quite so apparent. And, but you always see the creek always shows definitely, you can see it. When there's a bunch of them, it's like no mistake whatsoever. You're like, oh shit, there we go, right? Right now today, I'm gonna show you what it looks like down there. Let me turn this around here. Okay, there you can see where I'm looking. And so you're gonna see it'll light up. It'll literally light up. You see the ripples now, but they completely change. Get up here, you got nice, shallow, beautiful water. You can see right through it. And so naturally we're at jungle stage here now. As you can see that the scenery has changed quite a bit since we got all this green vegetation going. Summertime is like that, man. Things go quick. And then we just had the solstice, longest day of the year here, and I'm telling you, it is literally like 18, 19 hours of daylight, 20 hours of daylight. So that's what it's like here for us. And when you go to see the sunset, what we used to do was we used to go up on Flat Top to watch the sunset. And it shit, 2 or 3 hours, at least 2, probably like 3 hours of sunset. And I'm not even kidding you, because it's just getting down low on the horizon, right? So on that longest day of the year up in Barrow, of course, you heard about land of the midnight sun does not even dip below the horizon. But also in the winter, dead of the winter, does not even come above the horizon. And so, Joey, what's up? Aloha, brother. How you doing, man? You the man. Good to see you. Good to see you, my brother. Yeah, I'm out here down by the creek, and I'm patiently waiting for the damn fish to show up. And I'm shocked, right? I mean, here it is. Here it is. July fucking July. Where'd this year go already, right? And they should be in. They really should be running right now. I should be seeing them. But the last couple of years, I mean, there's hardly been shit for a run here. And so now I know that if conditions are just that bad that they can do what they call skip year, right? But I couldn't imagine them swimming all the fucking way to the mouth of the creek just to go back out in the ocean. And so I don't know. Weird, right? But this year is more like 2019 was. Is that fucking 6 Jesus H Christ years ago? 2019 was unbelievably awesome year up here. It's just like this. And it went like this through even September. I mean, I remember in August and September we were seeing, we haven't seen like 90-degree temperatures here, which is unheard of. And then I ended up going to LA that year, as you recall. And it was 90 degrees down there too. So it's like my summer got extended by a couple of months when I went down there. Very cool. Because through October and November, it was really nice down there. Even December wasn't bad, but I think that was probably the coldest month, December/January. But you could still step out and get some sunshine. It was badass. But anyway, this year is seeming more like that. And very nice. Cheers. And so, yeah. I brought a buddy of mine down here like 3-4 days ago. We were down at the other spot down here where we could see a lot further. And we sat around here for 2 hours and didn't see anything. And so I figured that they weren't in yet. But I have been paying close attention this year because I do want to get one or two. So I'll probably go in here in a minute. I'm starting to get hot. But I don't want to scare anything off in case they're coming, right? If they're coming, the last thing I want to do is scare them off. But I find that, you know what, the sockeye, they are really brave. And they'll keep coming no matter what, right? Until, like, you know, a couple of them disappear and then oh shit, that was probably a trout though. And that's the other thing too. I usually seen a lot of trout down this stretch, you know, doing their thing too. And hasn't been many this year. I wasn't here during the spawning time either, which is just like maybe a couple weeks right after the ice breaks. That's when you can see them all over in this fucker, right? All over. And so, yeah, fucking hot as hell today. About ready to dip in. But I'm just anxiously waiting. God, please. They gotta be here soon. I mean, this is late for them. Usually it's late. It's end of June and then through the first part of July as they run, and usually done by, say, the 20th of July, because it's a short run. You know, I've seen the longest it's been is a month, and then the shortest it could be is like a couple weeks, depending on how many make it in. Like, I have literally fucking seen a salmon. There was a stream, just like a piss stream of water, and I'm not even joking. This is down in Southeast, right? Just a piss stream of water that was shooting off the side of this little falls, little rocky area, you know, and the salmon have to get past this. And this fucking thing, I mean, I was sitting there thinking, yeah, I wonder if it could, you know, I was literally thinking, could a salmon make it up with just that much water, right? And wasn't that much longer later, because they were jumping up and not making it, right? They were hitting the rocks and falling back down and shit. And I was like, damn, and beating shit out of themselves. Like, this one comes and jumps and catches that piss stream of water. And I'm not even fucking kidding you. I wish I could have filmed this. I know, loud ass plane. I wish I could have filmed it, because that fucker literally was kicking, and it fucking, that little piss stream of water, it rode that fucker right up and right in and made it. I mean, I'm like, no, the flying fuck way, right? Unbelievable. Unfucking believable how it did it. I don't, you know, it just goes to show the tensile strength of water also, as well as, say, the the forward momentum that the fish already had going, it just kind of helped that, right? It wasn't like it literally, I mean, that was just enough for it to kind of change its trajectory enough to get that fucker over the top and into into the next stage up, right? As they go up the spawn. I'm telling you, if I had not seen it, I would not believe it. Because that was, it's just no way, right? Literally a piss stream of water. I'm not even joking. But these ones, they are going to the lake too. So they're just, when they go by here, they're fucking right on by. What do we got here? Loken. What's up, Loken? Cheers. How's it going? It's nice. It's nice and warm. Things are good. You're going pretty good. Still made out to go back out to Sutton tomorrow, I think, and try to see about that Cadillac, right? But today I'm here and I'm looking for fish. And if any come, it's on. But thus far, nothing yet. Doesn't mean that they're not here though. So I'm gonna run in for a quick dip here because I'm getting kind of hot. Burr. Ready, baby? I'm gonna hit my homeboy up here too. I wonder if I can text while this is going. I'm gonna text him. But I kind of don't want to until I see some fish. If I see some fish, then yeah. It's kind of weird because I can see ripples down around the corner, which usually you don't see. But it is a different kind of day. Little bit of breeze going, but normally those ripples, I'll show you what I mean. They don't go all the way around the corner. See what I'm looking at is these ripples here. And like I'm telling you, when that school comes up around the fucking corner, there is no mistake whatsoever, no doubt, no question. So, I got this funky little tripod today, which is kind of weird, but that's cool. You still got those Lamborghini folding shades? I do, I still do, but these aren't them. These are some cheap ass. They're called Tier 1. Oh, these are cheap ass shades that people put their logo on, so it's like a medical center logo, right? So they're cheap ass. These aren't even the Aura shades or anything. There's some ones that I found in the costume bag. Yeah, but I still have those Lamborghini ones that you're talking about. Those are badass. They fold all the way down. All right, let's get a dip in here. Cheers. Like my new flask, see? All right. So far, nothing. I've only been, God, spilled my beer. Gosh. Damn it. Been here for about, we're 13 minutes in, so I started right almost as soon as I got here. About 15 minutes. It doesn't mean anything. I've waited here for as long as 2 hours before I seen them when they're running. Plus, it's hot and sunny. I don't think that makes much of a difference, but I used to think that, maybe they don't like going in the sunshine, but you know what? Once they're on the way, they don't stop. They don't fuck around, right? They are going to splooge their load. What I would have noticed though, I've been watching the behavior of these fish too, right? And the cohos are aggressive. The sockeyes not so much. I've seen the cohos, male silver salmon, fucking literally fighting each other, right? And I would never, if I hadn't seen it, I would never believe either. I heard this splashing around. And I thought, okay, it's gonna, a couple of them fucked around, whatever. No, one of them had driven its mouth into the other one's gills and was shoving it up onto the up on the beach, right? Craziest shit I've ever seen. And I've also noticed that this is far as the silvers go, the cohos, later run fish, that they'll be sticking with the ones they've come up with. And I saw one time that I had. There was one outsider fish that was following the females around, right? Literally up and down the creek. He was chasing them up and down the mother. And these ones did not want to spawn with him. And so I targeted it, and when I caught it, everything calmed the fuck back down. But I remember that it was chasing it around up and down the creek when I left that night. When I came back in the morning, it was still going at it, and I was like, no way. This guy cannot be fucking wasting all their energy like that. And so I just went ahead and I got him in. After that, they went back to normal. So hilarious. It's hard to find some nice folding sunglasses. You fucking I don't think they make them anymore. So you gotta find them in the vintage, in the hawk shops or whatever, right? All right, we're going in. I'm gonna turn around. I hope you can get a view of this, but if you can, that's good. If you can't, dang it. There we go. That should do it. Oh, I don't have any. Wait, I got some shoes. Hold on, let me put those on. Not the ones I was wearing last time, but they'll at least keep me from fucking my feet up. And the mosquitoes aren't that bad because it's so hot. But the flies are here. All right. Okay. Beautiful, isn't it? It's beautiful, my favorite spot on earth right here. All right, here we go. Oh, God. Oh, fuck. Shit. Shit. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. Oh, man. I gotta tell you, when you're so hot and you get into that cold water, oh my God, it's harder to put your back in than it is to put your nuts in. And I'm not joking. So, God. It's not as cold, of course, as it is in spring. Matter of fact, the second time will be easy, but it is not warm. So it's still a bit of a shock, which is good. Let's see. A friend of mine's having conservation trails and dried prunes aren't cutting it. Anything you recommend? Yeah, 100%. I will tell him to go on to Global Healing Center and get some oxy powder. And depending on how much he weighs, how many you take. Like I started out, it says it recommends you take 4 capsules to start with, and that didn't do anything to me. And it says add 2 more until you get something right. And so I did 6 the next day, and that still didn't really cut it. But then the next day I just went up. I think I did 8. Yeah, I went up 2 more and we did 8. And fuck, oh my God, talk about biblical. But I felt better every day. I was able to cut down to 7 caps per day, per night. You know, where you take them right before you go to sleep. When you wake up in the morning, it's like you're not gonna shit the bed or anything, but you know, when you wake up, you'll be like, oh, they're definitely right to the bathroom, right? You know how like you go like you think you got a gas or something, you're like you're gonna fart or something, and you go, oh shit, you know that is not air. But yeah, that's what I recommend. I've only heard of only encountered one person who that shit didn't work for. My buddy Sean too, right? He said that he literally took like I left a giant bottle of it with him when I was down in Cali last time, and it took him a while to get to it, but he said he was taking fucking handfuls of these fucking things and it wasn't working. But what it does is will it starts to liquefy the post putrefied waste in your intestinal tract from the stomach down, right? Most of it's in your colon, but I mean it'll start from the top and work its way down. And yes, dude, for me, it worked fabulously, right? I mean, it was like I was doing 5 days and then 2 off, 5 on, 2 off. I did 6 weeks of that, and then I followed up with an additional 3 weeks. And that final 3 weeks, I used the living defense with it too, the stuff that knocks out the parasites, right? You don't want to get that shit that kills them because when they die, they shit out their eggs, right? And so you want to just knock them out, and then they're not clinging to your tissues, right? Because that's what they'll do if you just use the oxy powder solo, which works. But yeah, dry prunes, that normally works good, right? And then you get shit like what they call, all that Metamucil type stuff. Or if you just drink a fucking fifth of vodka, right? That's going to make, that'll help you to get, it's just going to make liquid shit though, right? Whereas this oxy powder is working, it's a form of magnesium that Dr. Group has figured out how to do it. It's an oxygenating thing, right? And so, but be sure that you have addressed your water first, though. You want to have filtered and structured water. And by structured, I mean you're going to want the molecular structure to be correct, so that way your body can absorb it. You can do that very easily by thanking it, literally. Say thank you, or say an ohm over it, whatever. Hum, sing. Ohms work the best. Ohm, right over the water. The vibration changes it. But make sure they're hydrated. Tell them that. Be sure to hydrate, right? Because if you were, once you start to use this oxy powder, it liquefies everything, which is drawing the liquid from your body, and it's going to make you dehydrated, and you'll get headaches and shit like that. And you won't continue the flush. So be sure you address your water first. This is why when I did the videos, very fucking first one is all about the water, right? And I know people skip that one, and I tell them, man, you're just screwing yourself because you'll try the flush and then you'll think I'm a quack, right? When you didn't do it right. And so, but yeah, that's what'll happen. You'll get dehydrated and you'll have headaches and you'll be like, yeah, you won't want to continue. And so, but yeah, buying a filter is much more affordable than buying bottled water. And the bottled water is going to be garbage anyway, unless you're buying. There's only two brands that have the proper pH, and that is Fiji and Smart Water. And plus, they have bottles that aren't BHT lined. So anything from Walmart or any other bullshit like that, BHT, bisphenol A and BHT both will be lined in the bottle. And those are both estrogen and mimickers. They're going to set your hormones off balance. And what the fuck, right? Once those go off balance, there it is, game, right? You're going to be fucked. And so have them start there. If they have to get, until you can buy a decent filter, you can get a Brita, right? That's okay, but it's not nearly as good as you need it. And if you go on to ProPure, you can get a ProPure pitcher filter. But my recommendation is absolutely Crystal Quest. Go to Crystal Quest and buy the $40 shower filters. Those are money. They even get rid of the chloramine, for fuck's sakes. And so, and it's very affordable, right? Very affordable option. Put it on your shower head. Not only are you going to get to shower in that killer water, but you can fill your water pitcher up straight from the shower head, right? And you're at least getting filtered water. And if you're using municipal water, that shit's been put through so many pipes which have right angle turns. So one dude misheard me once when I was talking about this. He's like, I don't get why water turning right does it, right? And I'm like, no, right angle, you idiot, right? Right angle, right angles do not exist in nature, especially for water. When it comes to water, if you watch or you look from the air, you see the way the river flows. There ain't no fucking rhyme or reason to it, but there definitely ain't no right angles. And so once it's forced through all that, through municipal pipes, right? Every one of them is a right angle. You've seen it, and it really literally jumbles the molecular structure. I made the mistake one time of describing this. The water gets confused, right? The molecules get confused, and the whole fucking room full of dumb cunts laughed, right? Yeah, the water's confused. And I was just like, oh, fuck, that was the wrong way to put it, right? No, the molecular structure is confused, and your body cannot absorb it. It just passes right through you. So, and if you're just drinking straight from the tap, basically all it is a toxin delivery system. That's all it is. So, I see people like that, right? I just drink from the tap. I'm like, dear God, what? What? Because that is the foundation of everything, is addressing the very water you're drinking, which the cells of your body are constantly replacing themselves. So it is, every time you drink a glass of water, it's replacing other cells within your body, right? And food the same way. See, water is a little more, we'll say temporary, we'll say, but the foods, whatever food you're eating, going to get stored in your body for 7 years. The cells have a 7-year cycle, supposedly. So within 7 years' time, your cells will have, every one of them in your body will have replaced itself with whatever you're eating, whatever you're consuming. So if you're eating junk, you will be junk. And that's just the way it works, right? So that's physics of the physical body. But yeah, the water constantly replacing itself too. And so if it's like they say down in some of these major cities, they use recycled sewage water. They've okayed just fine for you. Yeah, we filtered it, no worries. No, it's still sewage. That's the thing. If you watch Water the Great Mystery, free documentary you can watch right here on YouTube, you'll see. Prepare to have your mind blown. Okay, and so yeah, remember there's a playlist, Loken. One of my playlists is "Click on Me to Live." Send them that link because that has everything explained in greater detail. But when it comes to the water, the researchers said that every water molecule, mind you, one molecule has 200,000 memory cells. Memory cells, making water basically memory. I know, weird, right? And it'll remember everything that's gone through. It's gone through all these different processes, right? And the way to erase the memory, give it a new one, is through distilling. It evaporates, goes up, comes back down in condensation, which is basically the earth. It is a giant still. Matter of fact, when they say there's only a finite amount of water on Earth, I mean, yeah, technically, I guess that's correct. But what they don't tell you is that the water that's in the air, in the cycle of the distilling process, the clouds, all that, apparently there is more water in the still than there is on the surface, or even in the oceans. I find that, I don't know, that's, that's kind of a tough one, but I guess it makes sense, right? So, never going to run out of that shit. It's going to constantly be raining. I used to think that too, right? When I'd be, up here in Alaska, we got the mountains and stuff like that. And you see how the groundwater eventually turns into a creek, a stream, or I mean streams turn into a creek. Creek runs forever, right? This goes continually running. Well, where's it all coming from? I mean, the way it's flowing right now, wouldn't it drain out? That's what I used to think as a kid, right? But no, the constant cycle, right? Rain constantly coming down, hitting every fucking square inch of the earth, which gathers it, and it starts to go downhill and eventually gathers. So, well, it's a beautiful day here. We're last stream we had Forrest on, and he's driving that fucking Tesla, right? He's driving a bomb. That was very illuminating. He did a video on that too. I watched it, and talking about how that fucking thing is operated from an app, basically, right? It's a little fucking screen, no gauges, none of that shit, right? It's all on the screen, and then the app on your phone starts it. Your phone dies. Well, yes, you're stranded. And then, like, you know, up here in Alaska, I have never seen a Tesla charging station. I have never, ever, ever once seen a charging station. I guess they have them in the fucking major metropolises, right? But they're non-existent here. And so, but I did see one of those stupid fucking ugly Cybertrucks. God, that's the ugliest thing I've ever seen in my life. Cybertruck. Fuck. Talk about retarded, right? The one where he goes to test the bulletproof glass and shatters the window. And then he just goes, yeah, oh well, right? I mean, come on. Dude, if that's what, that Egon, he's just the front man. He didn't invent any of that shit. He didn't design it. I mean, if that was your baby and the window broke, you would probably be a little embarrassed, wouldn't you? You probably wouldn't go up on stage and break your own fucking window, right? Idiot. And he just blows it off like, oh, well, no big, bulletproof glass sometimes does that. Yeah, fuck bullshit. But I wonder if that was not a hazing for him, right? It was a humiliation ritual, but he obviously wasn't humiliated one bit. Fucking Egon. Oh, yeah, there's goddamn, man. Remember I was telling you that when I was working at that one place that I would say something and that people would respond to something completely different. Like they were, I mean, I wasn't saying different words, but their brain was interpreting them differently because of the way I theorized it was a massive amount of chemicals that is altering the synapse action within their brain. And they did a literal study on this. They found that people who have so many toxins within their brain, they cannot even they can't even comprehend what the truth is anymore. And so, wasting your breath. What's that looking? It says, have you heard of Victor Schauberger? Yes, I have. But remind me what he did. I remember that name. Now, is that one of those Royal Rife kind of guys? Working with frequency? Remind me what he did again. But yeah, I'm going to reiterate. I'm not the genius who figured all this shit out that I'm talking about, but I'm just smart enough to listen to the geniuses who did, right? He was all about knowledge, about water. Okay, that's where it comes from then. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I like anybody like that, right? Who can shed new light on things. Like I said, I'm not I didn't figure any of this out. Like I said, I'm just smart enough to listen to the geniuses who did. And whenever I hear something like that too, something new, I'm always like, I, I do the crazy test on it, right? If it's just completely batshit crazy, then 99% of the time that's the truth. And that's why I say that. That's just crazy enough to be the truth. And that's one of my favorite things, right? Fuck, that's just crazy enough to be the truth. And sure as shit, it is. And then fucking DoorDash after me to go DoorDash and fuck. I don't want to. I still have money left from the truck payment, but I shouldn't be relying on that either. No fucking fish yet, man. I am shocked. July 2nd. Jesus H. They gotta be in. Please tell me they're in. I mean, I can't have another year with no fish. Last year was just a scrawny ass run. And so I ended up going. Remember, I went to Chitna. Jesus Christ, what a fiasco that was. Never doing that again. But yeah, I went out there. And remember, I had that fucking tooth issue going on. My face was all swollen and shit. But we're good this year. We're thinking to go out to that car launch thing. And we might. Just might. If so, it'll be tomorrow. And we're going to have to fucking stay out there. We're going to have to camp out there. So that might happen. I mean, I wanted to get one of these fucking free cars off Facebook and one just that will run long enough to launch, right? But I should have planned it a little further ahead. But I think we might do that. We might be going out 'cause it's nice weather. See the spectacle once and for all. You know, it'll be fun. And I can do a stream out there and shit. And that'll be fun, wouldn't it? I think it will be. So that might be what's going to go down. Probably. If not, I'm going to be down at the park down here. They're going to have music in the park on 4th of July. I mean, they do pretty big celebration here. I've never really been big in it. I mean, down in Wrangell, it was the whole town thing, so that was a different deal. But they're kind of like that here too. I mean, the one year that was nice and sunny, which was, I think it was 2019. It was a massive deal. And so I'm guessing that it's going to be that way again this year. So 2 more days. Friday. It's going to be a Friday. Damn, yeah, that's going to be a big one. So, oh shit, there's a cloud. We got one cloud. But no freaking fish yet. Wow. I'm just wow, right? Unbelievable. Freaking leavable. I have seen it where it's like when it's sunny, they don't move that much, but when the sun goes at least gone from directly above head, they move a little more. If it gets cloudy, and then I noticed that as it gets towards dark, man, those fuckers make one last move, right? And so that's always a good time to be here. But right now it's not bad because it's so hot that the mosquitoes are virtually non-existent. They don't take the heat very well, I guess. And so that makes it really nice. And I forgot my little zapper. But that doesn't mean they can't hit you in the back where your back's cold. That's usually what happens. You get bit in the back. I gotta turn around and get my fucking back. A little bit of sun exposure too because it's cold. Front's warm, back's cold. I'm gonna have to jump in here pretty soon. Not really all about that. I'm not really about that because if it scares the fish too, right? And like the co-hosts do, they know the moment you step in that fucker. And then the sockeye do too. When you're upstream of them, they're very sensitive to that. But once they get past you, they could give a fuck about you, right? And so that's why I don't really like in and out when they're coming because I don't want to scare them. I think they can fucking literally smell that shit too in the water, right? And this is why when I do clean them, right, I don't put the try not to get the blood in it, right? I think that they could smell, they could tell. Fish are a lot smarter than we give them credit for. Here, I'm gonna turn it around so you can so you can see it downstream. Yeah, this is a trip because there should be people. There haven't been many people around. Okay, down green. I can't see shit. But yeah, that's the corner where they come around. We'll do a 360 for you. There's my upstream angle, which is awesome. Back into the woods. We got the bus, the magic bus. So you can see the jungle growth, man. This shit sprouts fast. When you got 18, 20 hours of sunlight, it's a lot of growth. And that's what we got here. So, Stephen Crumley in house, welcome. Cheers, my brother. Cheers to you too. Yeah, I'm hanging out, waiting for the salmon to show, and they have not yet, which is weird, right? They should be here by now. But, hey. But this summer is more like 2019, which was a really good year as far as that goes. Let's go. Okay. All right, here's my little island. I call it Ayahuasca Island. No, I'm just kidding. But that would be more referred to what they call as an islet. But this little thing on the front is new. Flowed down all the fucking growth right there, see? But this is perfect. This would be a perfect spot. Like, dig this. If you were to put like, let's say a net, a gill net, on that side of the islet, as the school comes up this way, you could be right up here. And as they come around this right here, you could just scare them right down and they would go right into that fucker, right? And you could just sit there and just slaughter, just fucking slaughter, right? You would just get shitloads of them. And so that's why I think they had this fish camp here. Why try to get them one at a time, right? And so back in the day, you know, when it was pretty much the Wild West, right? Laws, what? Say what? Johnny come lately, laws? Fuck, you know, this is how you survive. And so, like my tribe, the Athabascan people, hunter-gatherers, right? You only got a few months in the summertime that you got to get all your shit done, right? And then you got all winter to be chilling in the goddamn mud hut, as our good brother Torrance would say. Yeah, we'd be all sitting in our mud hut all winter doing our crafts and shit like that and making, you know, the weapons needed to survive in the harshest of climates. Not right now, but you know what I mean. And so it was so funny. I was down at. I'll give you one last downstream thing, and I'm gonna step back down. But see, this is the perfect angle right here to see right around the corner. And like I said, when they're coming, there's no mistake. So I've been here almost an hour now. Nothing yet, which still doesn't mean anything. Like I said, I've sat here even during the height of the run, during the day like this, for 2 hours before you see anything. So not to worry. God, I would love to put one on the barbecue tonight, right? So anyway, I was down at the bar, right? I think I talked about this already. There's this super genius IQ dude. He's like, I'll just tell you something that'll blow your mind. And we're like, right? And he's like, well, I have an IQ of 178. Okay, that's not the mind-blowing part. You know, we're all chuckling like, fuck, right? Okay, come on, bro. And so I saw him again. As it turns out, he's working on the door down there now, right? But he told me some crazy ass ghost stories because he sees them, right? And that was very interesting. But how I kind of when he brought up his super genius IQ, I said, okay, let me tell you a little something about I go, where did you get your IQ test at, right? And he's like, he said there was a place that offers it. I'm like, what? You know, because I assumed he was going to say online, but those online ones, anyway, whatever. I said, okay, and everybody was listening to, right? We were all out on the deck smoking, right? And so a little something about your IQ test. The IQ test would say that the the guy who invented the atomic bomb was a super genius. Whereas you could get a local guy here, right, Alaskan, who can't read or write, but he can feed and clothe his family for generations to come. Who's smarter? The man who creates death or the man who can sustain life, right? Because they'd call that illiterate guy, he'd be an idiot. He'd be a, I mean, he'd probably have an IQ, according to them, as something like 60 or 70, right? Where he's a fucking genius that can sustain his family, whereas these fucking super genius fucking cunts couldn't fucking feed themselves, so they had a fucking store to go buy their shit from, right? They had a bunch of Jew money. So how smart is that? Who's smarter, right? And I think you know the answer. Oh yeah, one of the old boys literally came over and fucking grabbed my hand. He said, "I like the way you think," because it's true. You got people up here. I mean, like the old timers that came up here for the gold and shit. They probably didn't have very much of an IQ either, intelligence quotient. But there's motherfuckers that they could figure out how to do something with what they had on hand, right? They could fabricate shit with their very hands. And they could survive up here, right? Survive. And yeah. Athabascan Adaptions, I read a book about some genius wrote a book about them, right? And literally marveled at how they were able to sustain their lives year round. No money, by the way. That's no money. They weren't slaves. They weren't monetary slaves, but they could. They adapted to one of the harshest climates, one of the most harshest climates in the world. Sure, it's nice in summer right now, but when you're talking wintertime, you sustain temperatures of like 50, 60, and 70 below zero. Yeah, tell me about it. That's when modern shit doesn't work, right? And it don't. That's why when they tell me this fucking they got a little robot, little roller skate robot fucking cruising around Mars and has been for decades now in 120 below. Yeah, fuck you, right? Come on. Give it a rest. Oh, well, there's no atmosphere. But now they're lying about that too. Now they're going to say, oh, yeah, there's atmosphere now. But we were making. We fucked up. Yeah. As a matter of fact, we get there in 2 weeks too now. It used to take fucking 6 years or whatever the fuck ever, right? Oh, no. We perfected warp technology. It's hilarious. Well, it's not looking too good for the fishies, for the ishies, and now I'm fucking overheated, so when I get in the water again, it's gonna be cold. Wah, wah. All right, we're gonna do it. Turn this bitch. Come on, fishies. Fishies, pay for fish. So yeah, I gotta bring some of this water back and come down here with my cooler or something and fill some creek water up because I got some plants now and I want to start using creek water for them. That shit. Sure, it's been. Or I know that when they chemtrail a lot and the snow goes through it, it picks that shit up. I know that for a fact because it was showing little oil slicks on the water we melted for the plants in the winter. And I was dipping my hand in that shit. That made me so depressed that literally had ended all now thoughts, right? I figured that out though. And this very dip that I'm doing right down, hanging down here, saved me. Literally saved me from that. The video where the salmon swim around me was the turning point. It was right here at the spot. I remember I was really pissed off that night. I think it was day 4 in the 7-day cold plunge experiment that I was doing back then. And I remember setting up the camera. It was like 9 at night, and the sun was gone from here and shit. And so I was like, I was just fucking already pissed. And I literally said to the camera, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I think I lost my mind. This is fucking stupid, right? And I walked out there and I said it again before I got in. All right, fuck, whatever. This is fucking retarded. And I sat down in the cold water and then proceeded to, immerse myself. And I don't know how I didn't notice the salmon, right? Still dumbfounding me. I watched that video and I'm like, how did I not fucking see? Because the camera picks it up perfectly, right? As soon as I sit down on the fucking thing, you can see him coming over and surrounding me, right? And I'm so kind of focused on being pissed off, I think, that I didn't notice him, right? And I laid back in the water, and then when I sat up, that's when they got startled. And I'm like, oh fuck, salmon! Ah. And after that, it was just nothing but joy and a great time after that. And so that's when the depression left my body, and then I started to catch them and throw them on the Barbie and shit like that. Dude, when I'm catching, everything changes, right? The whole mood, my whole life changes when you catch it. And thus far, I got the skunk on the deck. But I'm thinking that next time I'm gonna bring down some salmon eggs and some trout gear and go down the corner down here and at least catch a couple of those and put them on the grill. I'm not too partial to salmon or to trout, but better than nothing. And I'll tell you what. I'm just fucking unbelievable. July 2nd and there's no motherfucking. Oh well. This is a weird year though. I'm seeing like one dragonfly. By now they should be thick here. The birds. Where the fuck are the birds, right? Where's the ducks? How come I'm not hearing fucking hooters going over, right? How come I'm not hearing fucking jets training? Weirdest shit ever, right? And usually there's like a nonstop parade of birds going back and forth. And there should be more than that one fucking dragonfly. Okay, say 2 now, but 2? What? They should be just up and down this motherfucker right now. And I haven't had one land on me yet this year, that's weird too. It was weird. I thought it was weird when they started landing on me, but it's weird when they don't now. But when they're not around. And then where's the kingfisher? Where's my fuck? I've seen him just once this far, right? He's usually up and down this thing. I see him 2 or 3 times when I'm sitting down here. That fucker's busy. And where is he? right? No ducks either. That's crazy. That right there is just crazy. There's always ducks. They go up and down and eating the algae on the sides, right? And then I had, oh, it's that fucking weird green bug. I had one, not this winter, but last winter, like right it was breaking and still icy. They were here, and one of the mama duck literally came up and climbed up the fucking ice right to me. I don't know what the fuck was going on there, but I've only seen him once this year, and that's surprising. So surprising. So it's weird. Everything's been weird lately, hasn't it? I mean, as far as that goes to bees, I have not seen any bees. Seriously, that is crazy. Where the fuck are the bees? My yard too is just a fucking jungle too now, and I got to get the weed whacker out to that. But there's dandelions in it, and where are the bees? They're usually all over that shit. So it's been weird. And then if you look at the intranet, you see nothing but fucking paranormal this, Bigfoot that, fucking UFO this, right? Ghosts. Oh, dude, I was watching a marathon of those. Fucking woke up at like, I think I woke up, it was like 4 in the morning or something like that. I couldn't sleep, get back to sleep, so I just turned on YouTube, right? And I started to click on, I've been watching the hiking dudes, right? That take out the drones. That shit's badass. And then, so naturally you get the ones where, oh, don't ignore these warning signs when you're hiking, kind of shit, right? And then, I haven't watched like the paranormal ones for a while, so I started watching those again. Oh, marathon that bullshit, right? But one thing I said a long time ago after doing the whole paranormal show thing, right, was that as the crossover gets closer, or as the land shift gets closer, the crossovers will become more predominant, interdimensionary, right? I know, all fucking woohoo and crazy bullshit, but that's what I'm into. Anyway, I had this idea recently. I've been watching the Y Files, right? And that motherfucker he's doubling back on shit now, right? Because he's done videos on everything, and so now they're doubling back on shit now. And so there's one thing that I've always wanted to be done with the documentary I made about the paranormal, right? I would like to see somebody debunk that shit, and that's what this guy does. He's favorable for everything until the end when he debunks the living fuck out of it, and you know, AJ, right? The guy, I think he's a comedian, but he's a great storyteller, and he's obviously super relatable because they have almost 5 million subscribers, and their show is like massive, right? The Y Files. But now get this, even bigger than that is Yes Theory, right? Those guys who, they say what do they call it? Get comfortable being uncomfortable. Get comfortable being uncomfortable. The first time I ever heard of them was when I saw that Wim Hof video, right? That was the very first Wim Hof video I watched too, was with him and Yes Theory when he fucking took those guys and threw them in cold water, right? Straight off the bat. They're thinking more about the breathing thing, but first day, he had him jump off into the icy cold water, and the one dude, the one blonde haired dude, Thomas, right? Big as pussy, right? He was just like literally, he thought that their lives would be in danger and all this shit, right? But I get it. That water's cold, right? First time you do it, you fucking, yeah, it's crazy. It's hard to do, especially what they're doing with Wim Hof. That shit's sub-zero water, right? And he makes him sit in there for like 3 minutes or some shit like that, some excruciating amount of time, which is way too much in my opinion. And so, but you know, that's Wim Hof, who is world famous. He's the Iceman. Shit, who the fuck am I? But I've always, one thing I said about what we captured as far as my paranormal documentary went, I dare anybody to try to debunk that shit. Debunk it if you can, right? especially the anomalies we captured on videotape, which is a single layer of tape, right? Anybody who knows anything about video forensics, once they see, right away you can tell when there's layers, right? The layers, all special effects are layered. And even a double exposure on a film is easy to tell. Alright, moose coming. That was one of my trippiest times right here at the spot, man. Fucking big ass bull moose came walking down the creek. Oh, fuck, shit. Came right at me. I was like, oh my god. Well, it didn't come right at me, so to speak, but he was coming this way. But yeah, I would love to see somebody debunk that shit that we put of what happened in our documentary. The video anomalies on a single layer, right? I'd like to see somebody recreate even one of them, which would be, you'd have to be a special effects master, and you probably still wouldn't get it right, of course, because how can you get that shit right? Infrared, right? Infrared. I'd like to see somebody fucking duplicate even one of our captures. Because as a filmmaker, I thought about it, and it's like, how would you do it, right? How the fuck would you do it? Of course, smoke and mirrors, right? Sure, fairly easy enough with regular film, but as far as doing it infrared, it's gonna be tough, right? It's gonna be tough. But they're always saying at the end of those Y files, he's like, if you got a tip for us, send it into blah blah blah. How do you think we made this episode? It's because of you, right? And not trying to be like just trying to get exposure for my thing or anything like that. No, I think that they'd be the perfect people to try to debunk and then therefore become believers. Because once you can't debunk anything, it does a lot towards helping you believe it, right? And that if even though the AJ dude, the host, right, he he's like when he starts out telling the story, dude, it sounds like he's all on board, right? And he is. He tells the story like he's completely convinced of it. And until the end of it, that's when he gets to the debunking ceremony, right? And dude, that fucker brutally tears shit apart, which is good, right? Because you want to know the truth. And he not fully in on ghosts, but he did have the hag sleep paralysis. The hag fucking, I guess, showed up on him, right? Not the Hat Man or whatever, right? It was the hag, and he was in sleep paralysis. And the hag was crawling up on him, right? It's dude, that one's brutal, right? And even still, he's just like not 100%, which is interesting. But I'm gonna say it again, and once again, I would like to see somebody debunk what we did, what we captured, because very difficult to do. And I've always wanted to see, okay, as far as the spirit box answers go, we got and shit like that. I think those could be recreated. Not too difficult, but in order to get them to, like, I noticed that if I slowed them down, we could understand them a lot better, and shit like that. Wouldn't be too hard, of course. Fairly easy to do, but I mean, fairly easy to make a recording of it, but to have it go in live time while you're sitting right there, that would be harder. That would be very hard. And what was weird was we would get spirit box answers and EMP. What do they call it? What do they call those fucking things? Electro. No. Whatever the voices, right? The ones that you can't hear that they record. Electronic voice phenomena, EVP. The EVPs and the spirit box answers would be the same. That was some weird shit, right? They would mirror each other, and that Wow, right? The disembodied voices, along with the uh, the radio static interference, right? They'd say the same thing. That shit was crazy. But I would, like I say, I'd like to see somebody recreate the, what I called our guardian, the guardian spirits, right? The orbs that had wings and flew in intelligent flight patterns. Let's see somebody do that shit. And hey, you got to recreate it in infrared. But I was thinking to send them the link to the documentary and say, you know, these this fucking crazy fuck claims that this is all legit, and just go from there, right? See if they'll, for one, look into it, and for two, debunk that shit. So I'll tell you, I didn't put anything fake in that shit, because once you become a hoaxer, you're forever a hoaxer, right? That's the risk you take to hoax something. And so I've never done it. I keep my filmmaking and that I kept my filmmaking and that investigation shit separated, and so never presented. And I was even like, okay, even when we had poltergeist activity happen in the back room there, like this bottle cap got flown across the room, but there wasn't a back angle on it. There was only the forward angle. If we'd had two angles on that, I would have published it. But I was like, no, people say that fake, right? But as it was, I put it in there anyway because I showed the back side of the room, which would be impossible to do. Well, not, it could have been possible, right? But that small room, cameras were pretty well covering it. And we left the room, and then all of a sudden the bottle cap flung across the room. And so it'd be like, I guess it would be theoretically somebody hiding back there doing it, right? But I was careful not to present anything that could easily be debunked. I wanted it to be stuff that we would just go, like the part that made the statewide news that I sent in there, the winged orbs, right? The one that came up right next to me and circled around and then went back down out of frame. That one, right? I remember playing it for people right on the record or the video camera. Just press play, right? That way you know it's a single layer, no effects on it. And I would show them that, and everybody would say similarly, they go, "What the fuck is that?" And I'd say, "Exactly. What the fuck is that?" So naturally, anybody that knew anything about infrared and stuff like that immediately got it. But there'd always be haters. They'd be like, even one of my buddies was doing it to me, right? It looks like a moth decided to join the show. I'm like, are you fucking retarded? I said, you don't think I wouldn't notice a moth flying in front of me? But the wings did not flap. They did not flutter. The wings on this thing, right? They were just, it looked like it was like a, like it was mounted, right? Like it was weird. You got to watch it. If you haven't seen it, it's a circular orb, but it has a wingspan, and as it revolves around, the wings will, when they're straight on, can't see them, right? They disappear, and then as it turns around, you see them again, right? And it comes up right next to me and does a full circle, and then drifts back down out of frame. Probably the best capture that we ever got. And just before that, they come down from the corner of the room and they fly right around my face, cut right around my face, and then they go right behind Cynthia, right? They're circling around us like crazy shit. And they did a couple of those flight patterns around us, but that one that came up next to me like that, wow, right? Seriously, wow. And that was the first time we had ever captured anything like that. We captured shitloads of orbs. At first, when I was catching orbs, I was like, ooh, taking out orbs. Ooh. After catching 1,000 of them, you're like, no big deal anymore. And they say that the debunkers, because they captured a few pictures of fucking dust specks, they say every one of them's a dust speck, which is retarded. And that's not debunking anything. I'd like to see them debunk the orbs that I captured on two separate camera angles. because they claim that they're just dust particles flying very close to the lens, right? And at depth, it looks like they're far away, whatever, right? Now, not when you capture them on two separate angles. And there was one point where the orb actually reflected in a mirror too, right? Yeah. Let's see a dust speck do that. But no, they just debunked everything because they took a couple pictures of dust specks. They said, that covers it all. Yeah, fuck you retards. Right? But yeah, the shapes were very exciting to me. So we started calling them at first. I first labeled these things as like, I think I called them dragon sprites, right? But I settled on the name of the guardian spirits, right? The guardian angels. Because these things, like, when I used to try to entice the ghost into reacting right, I used my humor a lot. And so when we set up a spirit box session, we were talking to the spirit, well, the supposed spirit that had passed away in our apartment. His name was Norman, and because we were getting his mail afterwards, right? So figured out his name, and I'll say it here now. It was Norman McLean, right? And so we started our spirit box section in the back room, and I was like, Norman, how you doing? Dead? And Cynthia laughed, and I laughed too, right? And then all of a sudden, through the spirit box, it said, fuck it, right? Literally. And we're like, oh. And then you should have seen it, man. Those wings, the wing shapes came flying right around. They just came right in. And one of them comes right in and just kind of goes right in front of my heart. No, it's no shit, right? Like, covering. It's crazy. That shit was weird. And so, I remember when I was on Sam Tripoli's podcast and he asked me, tell me about some more of the gnarlier fucking paranormal investigations you went on. And I was too honest with him on that one. Because I said, when you're doing an investigation, it's usually pretty fucking boring. Right? And this is true. This is true. Everything's fucking going to be some scary bullshit going on? No. And usually you don't even, unless there's some direct poltergeist activity, which was rare when we first started, but became more predominant after I learned exactly how to provoke them, right? How to elicit a response. Yeah, it was pretty fucking boring. You sit there for hours and nothing happened, right? And that's usually what happens on all these fucking, they're fabricating shit, right? Most of those shows, but like I said, I wasn't going to be a hoaxer. No way. And that final investigation we did where we only had 1 hour in the hangar and we lit that fucking place up, that was real. Because I had the passenger manifest and I started saying all their names. That got that shit going. But as far as that goes, the scary part is the review of the footage after, right? Where you hear the disembodied voices and you see the anomalies. That's when it gets freaky, right? And if you see them in real time when you're filming, sure, that's good. And so what we started doing too, right? Is start putting headphones on and listening to the recorder, and so you could hear the disembodied voices in real time too. Then sure, great. But at first, we wouldn't know anything that happened until after we were reviewing the footage, right? And then we'd see something, right? We'd be like, oh shit, or we'd hear something, That's the exciting part. But that's why I'd like to see these Y files motherfuckers do. Try to debunk what I captured. So I might send them the link, see if they'll look at it. If they can recreate it, Hats off. Hats off. But I guarantee you they can. Because I've thought about this a long time. How could you do that? How could you recreate that? You could do it with mirrors and shit like that, but it'd be obvious. And it wouldn't be infrared. Right? That's the trippy part. The infraredness of it all. That's why I remind anybody who says stupid shit on them. Oh, it looks like a rubber duck. Right. So remember, this is all infrared and invisible to the naked eye. We couldn't see him. They'll be right in front of you. You can't see him. But when you watch the playback, you're like, oh, fuck. Right? So, yeah. I would like to see that happen because once you can't debunk something, it kind of goes a far way to you believe in it. Because when I went into it, I used to think it was a coincidence, right? And one of my favorite quotes from the whole thing, I was told Cynthia, I said, we either capture this to change the way people look at it, look at the paranormal, afterlife, whatever, or it's just going to drive me crazy. Well, it didn't drive me crazy, but still stunned at how Hollywood passed on it, right? Because shit would freak you out forever. I went into it with the whole premise that they couldn't affect us on this physical plane. Oh, I've seen the direct evidence contradicts that. The scratches that would manifest on Cynthia and be gone, they would manifest and then be gone within just a few hours. Yeah, that's not normal. Then when we captured the light blade, it missed its intended target. Right? How? There's a theory on that too, right? Once they go from their higher dimension or lower dimension or whatever other dimension to strike onto the physical plane, it's not exact. It's not exact. There's a little bit of lag time or something, a little bit of that, right? So when I saw that light blade the first time, it was right when Jake was going around what I referred to as the circle, which was a symbol. It was a star tetrahedron, not a pentagram. And I used that as a prop because I noticed that it was a prop in my movie, but I noticed that the activity seemed to be a little more predominant when that thing was out. And so I brought it everywhere with us and threw it out, right? And when we were at the bar there, the bar owner, Carrie, man, she was like, put that away, that's Satanist. And I'm like, look, it's not a pentagram. It's a star tetrahedron. Little did I know it's part of a dimensionary portal, according to the Key of Solomon. And so, yeah, it made sense that things would show up, and I pictured it as a sphere, not just a circle, right? Even though that's what we called it. And yeah, shit showed up in that thing. And so when I laid it on the floor, when we were at the bar, I walked back, checked to make sure the angle was on it right. And Cynthia was still distraught about the scratches right at it. Took all my powers of persuasion to keep her in the game. And which I did, I accomplished. By, well, you'll have to watch the documentary. But anyway, Jake, he was walking forward and not paying attention where he was going, but then when he saw the circle, he didn't want to step in it. So he went around it. And it's so funny because he's a big guy. Jake's a big-ass blacksmith dude, right? And he's trying to skirt around this fucking thing. And he's like a guy standing on the edge of a pool not wanting to fall in, right? That's exactly what it looked like. And then his friend Rose, who was supposed to be an empath, but turns out she was more like I think she was just like an innocent, right? That's because what happened next was a trip. She noticed that she had stepped into the circle and she jumped backwards, like genuflected back, like, I mean, physically just jumped back, like, just very quickly. And that's when we captured the light blade. And that fucker came, it didn't enter frame, it materialized within frame. It appears and it fucking shoots like it was right in that spot where she was, but it missed, right? Because she was no longer there. And the fucking thing literally stops. Like it comes to the end of its line, right? Literally, bam, and floats back like that. And then it spun around, sharp tip, and went back the exact same way it came in, and it disappeared before it left frame. And that was the most compelling thing that we captured otherwise, because that thing had an intent. And immediately I was like, okay, that thing, I theorized that that's what they used. If you came in contact with that, you would end up manifesting these scratches or, some type of injury. And sure as shit, at the very end of our little run, we captured that again when Cynthia was confronting her grandfather in the grave. And the spirit box answers on that fucking one are just another world. But I had seen it in real time too, but I thought it was an orb at the time. And it was such an emotional thing that I didn't even watch it for almost a week after. And when I finally did watch it, I saw that it was the light blade. Once again, it was only in a few frames. And it comes up out of the ground, appears within frame, and she was crouched down next to the grave, right? And it came up in what looked like a trajectory, like it was going for her heart, right? But it hit the very tip of her knee and was absorbed by her knee. And so at the time, you can see her, when she stood up, she was like rubbing her knee. And then it was like a delayed reaction. When she woke up the next day to go to work, she was literally fucking, her knee was in pain and she was limping, and she had put on a brace. She wore that brace for a month after that. And I was wondering, I was like, what, did you bang your knee or something like that? And we didn't know until I saw that, and I was like, oh, fuck. And that's when I made the decision that we were no longer doing it. I was definitely not going to bring her out to be assaulted by these things anymore. For one, it pissed me off. And for two, fuck that. Fuck, who gives a fuck about all that shit? If they really can they physically affect us, fuck it, right? And so, but I eventually did figure out exactly how to protect everybody who would go on the investigation with us, and how to protect her more succinctly, because my protection is 24/7 since I'm allied with the four directions, all choirs, the one true God, and His Son, and the Holy Spirit, the Holy Trinity. Those are my boys. Four directions that I know by name, including directions up and down, but the four cardinals, the most powerful, and then allied with the trees. Best ally you can have in the physical plane. So yes, they couldn't fucking touch me. But Cynthia left herself as a wide open spiritual target, being an atheist. She changed that. And so we were able to do our final bid over in Metlakatla. So she was dreaming about the little girl that left bruises on her arms in her dreams, dreaming about her, and she'd leave physical. Yeah. Yeah, I know, that was crazy too. And we went back. Little do we know, man, that's the greatest mystery about the whole thing. You can't script this shit, right? As it turns out, when I did my research and I found the passenger manifest for the plane that crashed on Mount Tamagas down there, Pan Am flight, every article said 18 people, 18 people, 18 people, 18, 18, including the crew and the passengers. There was 18 total. Searching for 18 people lost, blah, blah, 18, 18, 18, 18, over and over. And then when I got the manifest of the names on there, there was only 17 names on the list. And I was like, wait a second, where's passenger 18? And that was the mystery, right? Because right there in the documentary, I proposed the idea, right? Okay, if anybody had any kind of psychic ability whatsoever or intuition, wouldn't they get a bad feeling before they board a plane that's destined to crash? Or are some people just born to be victims, right? Think about that. It's a pretty powerful thought, right? And that was what, I mean, because like I said, I still think about this to this day. So after we had done that, my friend Dave Kiefer, who wrote for Sit News, did an in-depth bit on the crash in the plane crash. Right, it was back in the 50s, I think, when it happened, and that's what I learned about. There was a young family that was traveling on that plane. The Robb family, ROBB. It was John and Jill Robb were the two on the manifest, and his wife Mary Robb was not there. I don't think she boarded the plane. Matter of fact, we asked the spirits about that, and they said no, she got off. Right? The mother, and this is why the daughter was showing up in Cynthia's dreams, reminded her of her mother, and that's what the spirit box said too. Very, like I said, it's crazy. And so I did a little more research, and I found out that Mary Robb also had passed, right? And she was buried in Juneau, along with I think Mary Robb. I think they're all three in the same place, but I don't think the bodies were there because they were dumped in that island. Back then, it was a very costly to recover any bodies and stuff like that. Anybody who didn't have a ton of money, like as a matter of fact, almost all of them, according to the people that remembered it, they said that they just dumped all the bodies that weren't recovered in a mass grave right next to the hangar and unceremoniously in a one pile, in just a pile. So that told me, everything of why the place is so haunted. And it still is. But when we did our follow-up, that's when they said, yeah, she got off the plane. And so I can't prove any of this. But who knows? Maybe somebody with some better resources, whatnot, larger reach, bigger budget, might be able to figure it out for sure. But 17 names on the body list, right? 18 people supposed to be on the plane. What I surmised is that Mary Robb did get a bad feeling, and she didn't get on the plane. And I can imagine back then it must have been a big fight between her and her husband. No, don't get on it. And he's like, this is the only flight we're going to get in the next month, and blah, 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 right? There probably was a big, little battle, and he probably grabbed the daughter and jumped on the plane, and she stayed. And then when they crashed, oh my God, she died shortly thereafter of a broken heart. This is my theory. Right? So yeah, I'd like to see these guys debunk that shit. Well, no fucking fish. And we're at an hour and a half now. Down to one person. Can hardly see the screen. So yeah, I think that this paranormal shit is getting more and more predominant because we're coming up onto the end game, where the tape ends, right? 2045. We still got 20 years, but still, in the 12,000-year cycle, that's the last second, right? And so you're gonna see more of this Bigfoot, UFO, ghosty, demon, whatever, all this shit. Gonna get to be more and more. More and more, and I'm hearing more shit from the people too, right? People that live in haunted places. Luckily, my house not haunted at all. Not even a fucking, not a single particle. But this place down here, by this bus, orbiest place I've ever seen. Literally fucking snapping pictures down here one night, and oh my God, I've never seen that many orbs in one spot, except for maybe the Institute in Wrangell and then Creek Street in Ketchikan, Creek Street, notorious brothel district, right? If there wasn't a body floating up every week, that was an off week. And that's why I call instead of calling it the gold rush, I call it the you killed me and took all my gold rush. That's what happened to most of them. All right, let's wind this up. Thanks for joining. If you do want to look at the documentary I'm talking about, of course, it's the very first upload on this channel. Just go to the videos, and then if you click on it, it'll tell you the latest, oldest, most popular, right? Go to the oldest, and it'll be, it's called Soul Survivors, right? And with the soul being S-O-U-L, not S-O-L-E, right? Soul Survivors. And so you can watch that. I pretty much made it in the form of a narrative, not like a documentary at all, right? Tried to make it more like a movie than anything. And just tells our story. The very story that we did, the TV show from Paranormal Oscar, right? 7 episodes of that. Instead of having to sit through 7 episodes of that, you just get to digest it all in one sitting, about an hour and a half. And all the shit I'm talking about is in there. From our humble beginnings of the full spectrum image of a partial apparition, straight up until what I'm just talking about. The plane flight, all that. Very crazy. And I figured that fucker. Back when I first published it on my main channel back in the day, it got, I don't know, I think it got 10,000 views, but this fucking channel's, yeah, shadow of a former shadow, 4th channel. And I keep it small for a reason. But yeah, it's still there. So you can look at it and see what you think. I got pee. I'm going to go ahead and give you one last nature shot. You can look down. And then we'll close it. Whoa. Isn't it beautiful? And we got the asthma here too with water. The auditory signal meridian response. Very calming. Best antidepressant in the world. All right, we'll roll it up. I'm gonna head home. This ain't no fish. I should get back to work or do something. I love it down here though. I'll probably come back later because during the hot of the day, that's when they move the least. The fish, that is. But once in this creek, they're constantly moving. Constantly moving up. They might get scared down temporarily, but they're always moving up. And there's spots. This is a spot where they're very shallow, so they're constantly moving. But there's spots downstream that are deeper where they could hang out for a little bit on the journey. As a matter of fact, I'm thinking of going to one of them. There's a cool spot down here. You got to hike through the woods too. It's off the power line. You got to hike about a quarter mile. It's like a little point. And then there's also a turn in it, and this is where it's a big, deeper area. And that's where you see a lot of the ducks down there too and stuff. Kick-ass little spot. And there's perfect spots to put fish traps too. And I found them. I found an old fish trap in this creek before. And not a super old one from the old days. It was made out of a plastic bottle. It's very easy to make a fish trap from. And so put it right in the spot, man. the trout will go swim right in there and they won't even know they're trapped. But yeah, I'm bummed, man. Fish, where's my fishies? I want a fishy. All right, big love for joining. Thanks so much. We're gonna see you again next week. Get some of that stuff you're gonna need to. I think we got, like say, we got another, was it 3 or 4 years of this latest administration that everything will be good, supposedly. But stockpile up what you need, give somebody a hug, have a good time, get ready for the 4th of July. I'm probably going to go out to this car launch. And so you're going to want to join me for that. It's going to be fucking awesome. And the more I think about it, the more we're going to do it. So, and stay happy, right? Stay positive. As long as it isn't HIV positive. Fuck, I know I'm lame. Tonight's open mic night, and I should be going, but I haven't rehearsed anything once again, and so I'm probably not going to do it. But who knows? We'll see. But probably not. I think I'm going to go home and work on the yard for a bit, because fucking jungle there. And then I should work on the Jag. I want to get that done. But I probably just work on my house, which needs a bit of shit done, and then I got to transplant the plants that I got and stuff like that. So wait for the heat of the day to be over, give them some water, transplant them, and they're outdoor trained. I'll show you some pictures of that. I'll probably make a video of it. And so got a little bit of garden going this year. All right, big love, everybody. And like I said, smile, give somebody a hug, and we'll catch you next time. Cheers.